Why Rhaenyra Targaryen felt betrayed by Daemon during the Dance of the Dragons. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're exploring one of the most emotionally charged and controversial moments in House of the Dragon. Why Princess Rhaenyra Targaryen felt betrayed by her uncle, Daemon Targaryen, during the infamous Dance of the Dragons. This civil war was not just about the Iron Throne. It was a story of trust, family, loyalty, and betrayal, where personal relationships collided with political ambition. Rhaenyra's sense of betrayal goes beyond the battlefield. And in this video, we'll break down the events, motivations, and emotions that led her to feel so deeply wronged by someone she once trusted implicitly. The Dance of the Dragons context. To understand Rhaenyra's feelings, we first need to examine the context of the Dance of the Dragons. This was a brutal civil war between two factions of the Targaryen family over the rightful succession to the Iron Throne. After King Viserys named his daughter Rhaenyra as his heir, tensions erupted between her supporters, the Blacks, and the faction supporting Aegon II, known as the Greens. Daemon Targaryen, her uncle and later husband, was a key player in this conflict. While Daemon initially supported Rhaenyra's claim, his actions throughout the war created situations that left Rhaenyra feeling betrayed, uncertain, and often powerless. These perceived betrayals were not always outright treachery. They were often the result of Daemon's complex personality, ambition, and the harsh realities of Westerosi politics. Rhaenyra and Daemon. A complex relationship. Rhaenyra and Daemon's relationship was layered and complicated. From the moment they married, their bond was both personal and political. They shared a deep mutual attraction, strategic understanding, and a willingness to support one another publicly. However, beneath the surface, both carried their own ambitions, insecurities, and expectations. Rhaenyra trusted Daemon not only as a husband, but as an ally in the war for her claim to the throne. She relied on his experience as a warrior and his reputation as a fearsome dragon rider to strengthen her position against the Greens. Yet Daemon's unpredictability and willingness to act independently created friction. He often made choices without consulting Rhaenyra, believing his decisions were in her best interest or in line with his own sense of strategy, leaving her feeling sidelined and betrayed. One of the first ways Rhaenyra felt betrayed was through Daemon's strategic decisions on the battlefield. As a seasoned warrior and dragon rider, Daemon often took initiative, launching attacks, negotiating alliances, or confronting enemies without Rhaenyra's consent. While some of these actions were tactically sound, they frequently undermined her authority as queen and commander-in-chief of her faction. For example, when Daemon pursued rogue lords or made unilateral decisions about dragon engagements, Rhaenyra was left to manage the political fallout. She faced backlash from nobles and advisors who questioned her leadership, even though the actions were taken by her husband and ally. From her perspective, these independent maneuvers felt like betrayals, even if they were intended to strengthen her position. Beyond politics and strategy, Rhaenyra's sense of betrayal was deeply personal. Throughout the Dance of the Dragons, Daemon made decisions that prioritized his own ambitions or impulses over their shared goals. This includes instances where he acted impulsively, such as dueling adversaries, asserting his own authority over allies, or making secretive arrangements that excluded Rhaenyra. These actions created emotional distance. Rhaenyra, who valued loyalty and open communication, felt increasingly isolated. She trusted Daemon to support her not only militarily, but emotionally, and his occasional disregard for her input was experienced as a personal slight. In a war where every ally counted, this emotional betrayal cut deeply, eroding her confidence in even her closest companion. Key Incident 3. Political maneuvering and independence. Daemon's desire for personal recognition and influence also played a role. Unlike Rhaenyra, whose focus was the throne and securing her legacy, Daemon sought to establish his own power base within the Blacks faction. He wanted to be seen as a kingmaker, a leader in his own right, and a legendary dragon rider. This sometimes meant acting independently, making political deals, or asserting his dominance in ways that contradicted Rhaenyra's authority. From her perspective, It wasn't just a question of strategy, it was a question of loyalty. She needed a partner she could rely on completely. And when Daemon acted autonomously, it felt like he was putting his ego and ambition above their shared cause. The role of court advisors and external pressures. Rhaenyra's sense of betrayal was magnified by court advisors and external pressures. Allies and lords often commented on Daemon's actions, framing them as disrespect or interference. Some advisors encouraged Rhaenyra to distrust her husband, warning her that his loyalty might waver. In a court environment where every decision was scrutinized and gossip could change alliances, these pressures intensified her feelings of betrayal. Additionally, the brutal realities of war, dragon attacks, sieges, and shifting alliances meant that every action carried consequences. When Daemon acted independently, even with good intentions, the risks were amplified, often placing Rhaenyra in politically or militarily precarious positions. Key Incident 4. The alliance with key lords. Another factor contributing to her feelings of betrayal was Daemon's handling of alliances. Throughout the Dance of the Dragons, forging loyalties was essential. Daemon occasionally bypassed Rhaenyra when negotiating or interacting with lords, believing his charisma and reputation could secure favorable outcomes. While some of these alliances were successful, Rhaenyra often discovered them after the fact. To her, it felt like a breach of trust. She was left to manage the political consequences and the expectations of her faction, reinforcing her sense that Daemon's actions, however well-intentioned, sometimes prioritized his own glory over their shared goal. Psychological analysis. Why Rhaenyra felt betrayed. Psychologically, Rhaenyra's feelings are understandable. She is a queen, a leader, and a daughter of a king who trusted her to inherit the throne. Her expectations of loyalty and transparency were high, and Daemon's independent streak violated those expectations. Additionally, Rhaenyra was under immense stress, managing a war, asserting her legitimacy in a male-dominated society, and protecting her children. In this context, any action by someone she trusted that she perceived as undermining her authority or excluding her from decision-making felt like a personal and political betrayal. Rhaenyra's sense of betrayal highlights several key themes in House of the Dragon: the fragility of trust, the collision of personal and political loyalty, and the complex dynamics of family in a power-driven society. It underscores how even intimate relationships in Westeros are vulnerable to the pressures of ambition, war, and survival. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this deep dive into Rhaenyra and Daemon's complicated relationship, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more in-depth House of the Dragon analysis, character breakdowns, and Westerosi lore explorations.